Hey, good afternoon. This is Kim Tucker at MAREI, and I wanted to help our people that are a little more Zoom challenged. I do believe we are going to be using Zoom for a few more months, and rather than sitting and waiting for us to meet live, that some of you might have decided it's time to join in now that it's January and you want some options. Then there's a lot of you that have been coming and you've been watching with screens like this with just your name, but you haven't been participating and you haven't been turning on your video, you haven't been communicating, and we want to make sure that you at least know how to access all of these items. Ideally, you're working from a laptop like I am, or a computer that has a camera and has a microphone and has speakers. If you don't have all of those in one package, you can always join us via a smartphone or a tablet that will give you camera, microphone, and speakers, although sometimes the control options aren't quite as easy to watch. I know a few people that will log in using their computer just to get the screen and the screen options, and then they will mute everything on their computer, or if they don't have a microphone and a speaker on their computer, then they will also log in via their smartphone so that they can get a microphone to be able to speak to everybody and get a camera so that they can be seen. So they participate twice. So if you're ever watching a Zoom meeting and like you're seeing right here, Kim Tucker, Kim Tucker, Kim Tucker, I'm having a meeting with me, myself, and I, and currently I am logged in with my computer, I am logged in with my tablet, and I am logged in with my cell phone. So let's kind of give you a tour. When you first log in on your computer, you will have two screens that come up if you don't hunt for them, but you should see down here at the bottom, hopefully you can see this on my recording, there's a little Zoom blue Zoom logo, and when I hover over that, you're seeing pop up, I have Zoom, which is the login, I have Zoom, which is the screen, which usually features either the screen share, whatever the speaker is sharing, or the speaker's picture themselves. I'm sharing a picture here. And then you will also have a screen that shows you everybody in the meeting. You can also change this. So this is what I have up behind us. Let's take a look at that. If you look up here in the upper right hand view box, you should have view. If you have more than one or two people in the meeting, you should have options to switch between the view with all of the little tiles like this, or you can click it and switch to just speaker, and then you'll just get the picture or the logo of the person speaking. As I haven't turned my camera on right now, you're only getting the photo that I have uploaded. So let's take a look at muting and unmuting. So if you're at a meeting, I want to see your face. I want to see your bright, smiling face, because it's really hard. Right now I'm recording this and the only pictures I have are pictures. I'm basically sitting here talking to the wall. So if everybody in the meeting would take the time to find, and on mine there's a control bar down here, and the first thing I want to find is the start video. So we can click on this little camera icon. Right now it says start video. If I click it, it turns on my camera, and then we are seeing supposedly the person speaking. So the first thing I would like you to do when you log in, first they're going to ask you to test to make sure your audio and video is working, but after you get logged in and you know everything is functioning, or even if you don't know if everything's functioning, go ahead and hit the start video. That way we can see your face, we can see your facial expressions. I will give you a warning, let everybody else in your house know you have your camera on. We have had spouses walk through the back of the screen, back here, and they have been probably attired a little bit less than they have wanted people at the MAREI meeting to see. So if you are going to turn your camera on, either be in a room with a closed door and maybe put taping in progress on your door, or make sure everybody knows that you do have your camera on. You can turn it on and off. I like to turn my camera off if I'm going to start eating. So if you're in a lunch meeting, I like to turn that off. Or if I'm going to step out and go to the restroom, I like to turn my camera off. The other thing down here by the start and stop video is the mute and unmute. If you always want it to say You always want it to look like this. If you're in the bottom left-hand corner, you want it to say unmute until it's time for you to talk. So when you're ready to speak, a lot of times you'll go ahead and unmute, and then I'm going to leave mine muted right now because if I turn it on, we will get feedback. But if you try to talk and you're muted, they'll say, hey, wait a minute, you're muted. Mute and unmute, that's how you turn your microphone on. Leave it in the muted position unless you're going to speak, because it will pick up a lot of sound in the background. If you are logging in on 2 devices and you notice there's feedback, that's because one of them is not muted. So you need to make sure that if you log in on 2 devices, that at least one of them has been muted so that you're not getting feedback within your room, because when you get feedback, everybody else is going to get feedback. So let's move on to this bar down here, and what else can we do? The next option here is participants. You can click on the participants, and then suddenly I have the speaker view, and I'm going to switch my view back over to tiles because I just like the gallery view with the tiles. But you can see who everybody is in the meeting. And then down here at the bottom, there's one other button, and that's chat. Now, you might find that you also don't have all this participant and chat. Let's see if I can make it do what I want it to do. See, if your screen is too narrow, you don't get all of the controls, but if you click the more button, you will find everything that is missing. So right now, when I squeezed it, it took that little chat thing away off the bar. So there it is under the 3 dots, just to give you an idea. The next thing you might look at once you log in is to look over here and find your name. So you can find your name here on the tiles, or you can find your name in the chat. It'll say me beside it. You want to take the time there to make sure it has the right name. Perhaps you're logging in on somebody else's computer and you might be a Susan and it says that you are Bob. And one of the things you can do, especially for networking, that I highly recommend is you can go from, you should be able to change yourself here, but if you go to the participants, it's the easiest. We go to more, we click on more, and we're going to rename ourselves. So I'm going to rename myself Kim at MAREI, so they know where I work, and my phone number. That way, if I speak and somebody goes, oh, Kim said something and I want to call her, how do I reach her? I can see that number. I would also say if you're chatting on a group or at a Zoom meeting or any other meeting, when you're with a large group of people that are nationwide, like if you're coming to the MAREI meeting tonight, there will be a lot of people from nationwide. You might want to say that you are from Kansas City. So you might rename that you are Kim in Kansas City and your website. You don't want to get too long. I guess you could, but then people can't read it. So keep it as short as you can. But that'll give them away. They know my website name and that I'm in Kansas City. So that'll give you some tips there. You arrive at a chat or at a meeting, make sure you know where that chat box is, and here's some tools that you need to look at. So we have the chat box here, and right now there's nothing in there. Nobody's said anything. You can send a message to just everybody in the group, or you can send a message to specific people. So if you were, for example, watching me speak and you decided that Kim is just crazy and you wanted to comment to your friend that's on the other side of the city, but they're online, you could go to your friend and say, you know, type in Kim is crazy. Or you could say, man, Kim is right on. And when you do that, I want you to put that to everyone, you know, Kim is right on. We hit enter, that goes out to everyone. Also, if you're in a networking time where you know you're sharing and you do your elevator pitch that you have a deal at 123 Main Street, or you are looking for private money, whatever it is that you might want to share, be sure to type your contact information in the chat. And if you put it all in one box, let me give you a little tip here. So Kim Tucker. And instead of hitting enter, because that's just going to put your message out, hit shift enter, that'll take you to the next line. And you can put in your website name Shift Enter to go to the next line. Of course, I'm giving you my investor website and my MAREI phone number, so I guess that doesn't make any sense, but this is just an example. And have a house at 123 Main Street. And then I could hit enter, and then my whole message goes through. I could also upload a file. All right, I found a folder here. So if we hit File, it will open up and you can pick out where you want to look for your file. I'm looking on my computer and I found this lovely folder that has the member benefits brochure in it, the most recent. And so I could click on that and open it, and then it will put that file in here. So if you wanted to look at this file, you could click on it and it would download it to your computer and open it up so you could see it. So that's how you can share a file. What else can we do? That pretty much shows you what you can do within the chat. I also recommend before you leave, so you know, you're only going to get the chat that is posted anytime after you've joined the meeting until you leave. So if you wanted to save all of the chat that has happened while you've been on the meeting, you can click these three dots and you can save the chat. That will put it in, if we click Show in Folder to tell you where it puts it in your My Documents folder, in a Zoom folder, and usually it will date it. So today is 1/12, it's in here in this folder, and it has the saved chat. We also save the chat throughout the meeting and we post that as a replay for the members. But let's do some more creative things. So the next thing we want to do is change the background. So let's say the only place you have to join us on Zoom has a background of, I don't know, what have you seen on some of these meetings? Bedrooms. I had talked to somebody else. Were having a meeting with somebody and they had their bathroom with all their bathroom stuff in there, and you just, you didn't want to look at it. So you want a background that's a little bit more professional and you don't have just a door. So I'm going to share a screen. Let's see if it'll let me. I can't share a screen while another participant is sharing. So I am going to have to, well, I have the secret sauce here. I'm recording it differently. So I'm just going to change screens, but I'll show you how to share screen in just a moment. I am going to switch and go, there you go. I'm actually recording this on something other than Zoom so I can switch screens. But if you go to a website called Canva, C-A-N-V-A, it is totally free for most people. I pay for it. It gives you, the best thing I like is if you're doing a lot of graphics, if you pay for it, you can organize everything and you can also get a lot of the graphics for free. You don't have to pay extra to download a photo. But today we want to create a design and we want to create a Zoom background, Zoom virtual background. We click on that, it opens a folder, and then it gives you a whole bunch of samples right here that you could pick any of these and make that your Zoom virtual background. So let's just pick this one. That's an easy one. I can come up here and click download, and I want a PNG, and I download. That's going to download it hopefully into My Documents. Then it's going to prompt me to buy something, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go back to Zoom and I want to change my background. So I'm going to go where this video is. I'm going to click this little caret sign and I'm going to choose a virtual background. I have some uploaded, but let's say I don't. I want to add another one. I can click the plus sign, add an image, and it went to my downloads. There's the one we just downloaded. I can open that up, and voila, that is now my background. That way you don't have anything in the back. But if you notice as I move, I kind of bounce around and my chair pops in and out, or if I have a drink, things kind of work a little wonky. That's what happens when you use a virtual background. So if you're going to use a virtual background, you don't want to move around a lot, because if you move around a lot, it has trouble keeping track of what is you and what is not you behind you. Some others that I have done, just to give you some examples. I have created a few. I've done some research and found one. I made one that was Christmassy, so I had Christmas background. I've also made a couple that were offices with walls, so I could put my logos on the wall so that I'm sitting in the MAREI office. This is the one I've been using of late. And here's another one. I've just downloaded some pictures, going through Canva, finding a picture that gives me an office scene with the wall, and then I'm able to put my logo on the wall. That's just to give you some ideas. So I'm going to go back to this one that we picked earlier, and you can just close it. And I think for the most part, that'll give you everything you need to know unless you want to share a screen. So let me unshare on my other device. All right, I'm back. I unshared on the other device, so this is the screen that shows what's being shared. I'm no longer sharing anything, and I want to share something that's on my computer. So if you look to your control buttons, and if you're on a tablet or a cell phone, sometimes you just have to tap on the screen and the control buttons will come up. They might be at the top or they might be at the bottom. And sometimes they might not be in the screen you're in, so you slide over to the next screen and tap and you will get the control screen. But what you're looking for is the share screen. It's usually in the middle of your controls. You can click that and it gives you several options. I have a lot of stuff open. I have the screen on my tablet. I have a second screen attached to my computer. That would be this one. I could do a whiteboard that would allow me to draw and write things. I have OneNote open. I could share that. I have a documents folder open. I have my QuickBooks open. I even have my recording device open, but I wanted to share this, which is actually my Zoom, my Chrome internet access. And I'm just going to share that. And I'm going to click share, and you will find when you click share, it moves everything around. So we'll see where everything, it moves everything on my screen around, so I might have to find everything again. But that's the screen share. Now it is showing me and you the same screen. So I've lost all of my tiles on the screen share, and now I'm only seeing what I'm sharing because that's what I'm sharing. But that will allow you, if you share the whole entire screen, it will show anything on your screen. But since I'm sharing just this Chrome, you're only going to be able to see items within Chrome. And I could completely remove this from the screen and it will follow the Chrome, but it won't show anything else on the screen, like the QuickBooks or my documents folder. And when I'm done sharing, I can click stop share. And I'm not sure, this is something I don't know if you can do. You may have a record button, and I believe I've made it optional that if you wanted to record the meeting while you're watching it, you may be able to record it. And you can record it to your laptop, and once the meeting's over, have it saved to wherever you're at. I'm not 100% sure if that'll work, but it might. So that'll give you these functions right here: raise hand, yes, no. I don't really use that a lot, but it's there. And then we also have breakout sessions. Since I am not the controller, I can't show you a breakout session. I can't create the breakout session. But when we have a breakout session, a screen is going to pop up and say, hey, would you like to join a breakout session? Click yes, and it will take you to a different screen with just a few people in it instead of a whole bunch. You might have the option in some of the Zoom meetings you go to that says, hey, we're having breakout sessions. Here are the 5 or 10 rooms that you have to choose from. Pick the one you want to go to, and you can click on that room, go to that room, and chat, and then you always have the option to click and come back to the main meeting room and possibly go back in. We haven't really, that's a new feature I haven't played with, so that's something new to check out. So hopefully I haven't totally bored you to death with how Zoom works and given you some ideas for networking some more. I highly recommend that when you're speaking, that you turn on your camera and of course your microphone. If you absolutely can't speak or turn on your microphone, always use the chat. And if you wanted to speak, say you're in a group like this, when I'm running a meeting, I watch for a group of people. If I see somebody that unmutes their microphone, I know they want to speak. but you also might raise your hand. So know where your camera is so you can raise your hand. The other thing I highly recommend is if the speaker asks a question and you understand, give the speaker feedback. Nod your head, give them a thumbs up, or wave, or do something to let them know that you agree with them, or nope, we don't like that idea, or not me, no. Give them some kind of physical feedback, because you can't really give them verbal. I know if you're at a, if you're at a live meeting and the speaker tells a joke, you can laugh. Well, laugh, be really big about your laugh so the speaker can get your facial expressions. If you're sitting there like this the whole meeting and you're not giving them any feedback, they think the whole room is asleep. So the more energy a speaker gets from a room, if they're a live room, the more the audience interacts and has energy, the better the presentation is going to be from the speaker. And it works the same way on Zoom. It's just you're not all in the same physical room, so you have to have visual feedback. So being present on the camera, using facial expressions, getting up close, using hand gestures, waving, that's all a good thing so that the speaker can get feedback. So whatever you would do in a meeting, you might say amen or yes. We get that a lot in a meeting. So when you agree, so nod your head or do some kind of physical feedback so that they know that you're paying attention and that you're understanding what they're saying, because sometimes they're like trying to get a point across, and when you're talking at a wall, you can't tell if anybody's getting it. So visual feedback is very helpful. Or if you don't have your camera, always putting it in the chat. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Giving feedback is vital, whether you're in person or you're on Zoom. So help our speakers out, help me out, because again, we're talking to a wall here. The more I can see your faces and that you're interacting, the better. So I hope that'll give you some ideas, and thank you for joining me today, and I will see you at the meeting at 6 o'clock.